Protect the dog at all costs. Marona's Fantastic Tale is a 2019 French-Romanian production from director Anca Damian. And true to its title, it is truly fantastic. The best way I can describe it, it's kinda like Boy in the World, but with a dog. It's a simple story of a mutt's life, all the owners she's had, and all the names she's been given. It's a heartwarming, heartbreaking, heart-swelling story that mixes effective, meaningful narration with pure visual storytelling, and not to mention, absolutely striking animation. It was animated in TV Paint and Adobe After Effects to create a multi-style, multimedia environment that accentuates the abstract canine perspective of the story. And unfortunately, it's also very spoiler-heavy. And by that, I mean the inciting incident itself is a spoiler. So just like my boy who wanted to be a bear video, I'll have to dive fully into spoilers to properly cover the emotional gravitas of the film. But it's on the archive. The archive is God, and this film is fucking awesome. The story begins with a pretty big spoiler. Marona gets hit by a car. Yeah, we're wasting no time on this one. As Marona passes away, her life flashes before her eyes, which kicks off the story. Marona's father was a racist purebred dog who hated other breeds. That is until he met a mixed breed who absolutely stole his heart. When their owners weren't looking, they fucked and they had a litter of 9. And Marona is the 9th born of her siblings. In fact, her label starts off simply as 9. Because her mother didn't want to burden them all with individual names that they would soon have to forget. Their mother teaches them all about the world through an incredibly creative visual sequence. The movie utilizes many moments like this to not only forward the story, but illustrate Marona's emotional experience, as you'll see as we venture through this film. Soon enough, Marona gets sold to her racist dad's owner, and eventually both her bio dad and the human owner want nothing to do with her. So she sadly gets thrown in the trash. After a while of suffering alone, she gets plucked from the garbage and brought into a strange, dark, dingy part of the city, where she gets sold to a street performer acrobat named Manol, who names her Anna. This is my favorite character in the film. He is awesome. He's got such a winning and eccentric personality, a flair for theatrics, and as a result, is very dramatic in his everyday life. And his animation is very creative, using his strings and morphing body proportions to express his emotions. It's very humorous, plucky, and visually creative. They form a strong bond, and Marona, or Anna, is head over heels for her new owner, which is beautifully communicated through the otherworldly animation. Together they make a great duo of street performers. That is until a shady CGI figure offers Manol a chance to be in Cirque de Lune. But there's a binding clause that forces Manol to reject the extremely tempting offer. He can't take Marona with him. Manol drowns his sorrows that night, proclaiming that he and Marona are a package deal. But Marona feels sad for her owner, as her presence is holding him back from achieving his dreams. So, while it is a hard decision, she opts to leave Manol for his benefit, and she ventures off into the unknown. This leads to Act 2, Istvan, Marona's new owner who names her Sarah. The way he's introduced through shapes and lines, slowly forming his character design as Marona starts to realize who her new owner is truly inspired and one of my favorite pieces of animation in the film. Istvan is a big, strong guy who works in construction, and Marona instantly forms an attachment to him considering how much of a gentle giant he is. Istvan keeps Marona alone at the construction site for a bit as he's not sure how his wife will handle this dog. So he brings Marona to live with his ailing mother who suffers from dementia. At first, they seem like a match made in heaven, but unfortunately, Istvan's mother has a cognitive breakdown and throws a violent tantrum. injuring the poor dog. I love how the art direction portrays this without any needless violent imagery or shock value. It's very tastefully done. After spending some time healing at the vet, Istvan and his superficial wife come to pick her up. The wife is immediately smitten with the puppy, but strictly for self-fulfilling and social image purposes. They bring her home where the wife instantly starts to show her disdain and frustration for the animal when it doesn't immediately obey her. But it's okay, because Marona and Istvan are very much bonded, and they have fun in the park playing fetch together. Marona herself isn't much for fetching, she admits, but she does it because it seems to make her owner happy, and that makes her happy. As time goes on, the wife becomes increasingly more irritated with the animal, while Istvan stands up for his dog at every turn. Soon, the wife starts to play the victim and manipulate Istvan into eventually giving up the dog to animal services. And once again, the animation does a wonderful job communicating the emotionally abusive relationship Istvan is caught in. But before they part ways, Istvan and Marona have one last game of fetch, for old time's sake. That night, Marona escapes the clutches of animal services and flees into the forest. Finally, we arrive at Act 3, where Marona is taken in by a child named Solange, who aptly names Marona Marona. At first, her overwhelmed mother and curmudgeon grandfather want nothing to do with the mutt, but the grandfather is ultimately a big sap that folds under no pressure and lets Solange keep the dog. And finally, it seems Marona has a forever home. And she does, actually. Years pass by well into Solange's teenage years as Marona lives contently with this family, and growing to love them despite how stressed and disjointed they are. Marona even saves the grandfather from dying by a heart attack in the forest by running back to the apartment to get the family's attention. It's also worth noting that around this time, there are subtle Easter eggs of wanted posters for Marona that are no doubt from Manol, and Marona even debates running back to him at one point, but opts not to, adding another layer of sadness to this story. Soon enough, Solange grows into her adolescence, and grows more apathetic towards tending to her dog. She's more preoccupied with her social life, which leads to a very stupid decision on Solange's part where she leashes Marona to a tree and fucks off to go to a party. The dog is, of course, terrified and wants nothing more to be with her owner, so she breaks free of the leash and runs across the city to catch up to Solange. As she does this, her life flashes before her eyes. From life with her mother and siblings, to the magical life she led with Manol, to the security and comfort of Istvan, and the childlike enthusiasm of Solange. And you know what comes next. Marona sadly passes away on the road as Solange lays next to her. As the camera zooms out to reveal the entire world, Marona repeats her dialogue from the beginning of the movie, bringing this story of this dog's life to a melancholic close. I think it goes without saying, but this film is amazing. There's nothing convoluted or contrived, just a straightforward story of a dog's life. And if there is a theme, or themes, to be extracted here, I would say the most prominent ones are to appreciate your loved ones while they're still around, and that attachments to people, even if you part ways later on, are always worth it. Marona's philosophy is very much tied to the first theme I listed, but she phrases it as to lick your owner's face every day as if it were your last, because one day, it will be. She loves unabashedly and wholeheartedly, because all a dog knows is to love and to be loyal. And while she is worn after years of abandonment by the end, she never once second-guessed her loyalty to the humans who showed her mercy. Which leads nicely into the second theme. Marona's attachments to her owners, while short-lived in the grand scheme of her life, gave her endless fulfillment and joy. These attachments made her life as colorful as it was. She was loved by so many, and found happiness in so many ways. So when everything flashes before her eyes at the end, you realize just how beautiful and bright her life was despite the sad circumstances she had to endure. It's a very bittersweet ending for such an endearing character, and despite being a dog, she, as well as this movie, have something very human to say. Also, the music is amazing. I don't have much else to add, and I don't want to get copyrighted, but listen to the OST on YouTube. It's so beautiful. Marona's fantastic tale is just that. Fantastic. And a definite recommendation. The grandiose animation combined with simplistic storytelling is so engaging and effective. It has memorable, identifiable, and authentic character work, a wonderful handle on its themes, and a heart of pure gold. And you know, I really can't find anything else to say about this little gem, so go watch it for yourself if you haven't already. And while you're at it, try eating your own face. Thanks for watching, and always remember that Jesus was a femboy. Click the links in the description and follow me on other shit.